Hi everyone, welcome to this new artist interview. Today we are receiving Chepertom, Thomas Collet. Thanks Thomas for being with us.
Hi, thank
Um,
you.
Before starting this interview, little presentation on my side. I'm Clément from Bulldog, and at Bulldog we are building tools for artists to help them create outstanding experiences for their NFT holders. So come check Bulldogs. We have a lot of tools if you are an NFT creator for you. And we are dropping soon our Genesis utility token collection. So have a look. And if you are interested in crypto art, NFTs, and as a creator, I'm sure you will love it. So have a look. Uh, Without waiting more, thanks a lot, Thomas, for being here. Can you introduce yourself to us, please?
Yes, no problem. So yeah, I'm Thomas Chepertom. I'm a video glitch artist based in Brussels, but I'm French. I use video process, like video glitch process to create, and it depends. I create a lot of like still images, video clips. I've done a lot of a bit of sculptures also, but I worked it a bit less. But yeah, it's mostly like abstract painterly glitch art that I do, and yeah, I think that's all.
Thanks a lot. I wanted to ask you because I think you have a very pure glitch style. And what is for you your definition of the of glitch art?
Um, I think it's pretty difficult to have a proper definition of glitch art that would suit every glitch artist. Like it's something that I stopped trying to find it because I'm also doing like curation for the Glitch Artist Collective, and so it was a huge question a few years ago, and people were like wondering if some new forms of glitch was glitch, if we had to gatekeep creators for like kind of labeling things glitch art and other things not glitch art. And it was pretty difficult because if you have a right definition for you, you will always find someone that will do something that is glitch art but doesn't match your definition. So it's pretty difficult. But I would say that it's for me, it's about shifting the primary use of a tool to use it in a more singular way. Like, for example, if you use VLC, I don't know if you know VLC, but it's a media player that you can use on your computer. It's a huge tool. It has the code is free. You can look for it, you can change it and everything. So everyone is using VLC one way. You just put the video inside and watch the video basically. And if you're a glitch artist, you will try to find some kind of mm, a place where things doesn't work the way it should, and you're trying to maybe accelerate the video. Maybe you want to put something that is not a video and try it out, and you just want to use things the wrong way, if I may say so. And so it's always focusing on technology, I would say, but not only digital. It can be like music, it can be analog, it can be everything. Can be glitch if you extend the definition. Um, but yeah, I think it's shifting the tool into something like yeah, singularity is something that I'm looking for, even for the creation, not only for my art, but also to find out new ways of doing glitch. And so yeah, I don't know if I answered the question, but yeah.
Yes, yes. I think it's very interesting the what you say, the fact that to use a software to use something in another way, in a way that was the thing wasn't designed for that
Yeah,
at the beginning.
yeah,
I think it's really interesting, and also for us, we are more software developers than artists, and
yeah,
to have your approach of okay, I have this tool. How can I break it? How can I use it in a way that was not meant to be used that way?
yeah,
I think it's very interesting. Well, obviously to make art, but also yes to push the boundaries of some tools or to create new things. So
Yeah.
I really love this approach, and I think we can use it in many other fields.
Yeah. I think it's also really important for glitch artists to kind of find connection with like people like you that are in software, engineering and things like that, because if you go deep in the code, not every glitch artist is doing coding, but it can be really interesting to go deeper in the code and to understand what's really happening behind the screen. I think it's one of my main focus, to because like the tools we're using, like for example your phone, it's so complex and there are so many level of abstraction, so many level of complexity, so many complex thing that you need to understand to really know what is happening when you're, for example, taking a picture, taking a video or something like that. So I think it's one of my duty in a way to, as an artist, to show what's behind and to like kind of find my path into the technology by doing some kind of reverse engineering sometimes, by doing the wrong thing, like I said. And yeah, it's something that I'm really curious about things. When I see something, I want to know how it works, what's behind and what is the mechanism. And when I started doing videos, I was it struck me the complexity of video compression. For example, I was just like, okay, the goal is to shorten the data, the information, because it's a lot of information. And so you have a lot of algorithm that just try to compress and to make it like a little thing. And so it's basically my playground. I learn this. I try to meet the people that are working in that specific field to understand what they want, how they create the tool, and then I try to find my own version of the tool by doing so.
And did you, when you started to play with those video software,
Yeah.
did you have before a little academic technical background, or was it really with doing things with the softwares that you learned how it works?
Uh, I come from like an art school, so I made a degree in drawing, so nothing to do with the video or anything. I've always been pretty interested in mathematics, so yeah, I still look at new theories and new things going on in like scientific field, if I may say so. And also, my father is a scientist, so he could help me on that one because he's like working as a physicist in signal treatment. So it's specifically what I'm looking for when I want to learn about like video compression. But it's actually pretty interesting because my father is like building, or he learned how to build such tools, but to make them work, and then I learn how it's made just to make them, just to break them in a way. So it's pretty interesting. So sometimes I'm asking questions and it's really amazed that I can be interested towards those knowledges. But when I see what I'm doing with it, it's just like, what the fuck? But yeah, I think it's really important to find this kind of relation from like software engineers and glitch artists, because we both have to learn from those fields.
Yes, exactly. I think the connection is really interesting. On whatever you, with breaking those things, you help also make those things stronger in a way.
Yeah,
And
also,
so it's a very fun story with your father. In your Instagram bio, you say every creation is a loss.
yeah.
Can you maybe explain this sentence, what you mean by that, if possible?
It's something that it's a long reflection. I started like maybe 7 years ago, something like that. I was in art school. I was drawing at this time, and so at some point I have that kind of like creative crisis, where you're wondering what you're doing, what is creation, how does everything work, and uh, it was kind of a low period for me. But I just came out of this thinking that in everything that is that surrounds us, you will find a creative part and a losing part, not a losing part, but a part that is creation and the part that is loss, kind of a yin yang shit, you know. But if you wait enough, everything is just gonna disappear at some point. It's gonna break apart. It's gonna kind of shift into something else, but it's gonna go from 100% of its potential to zero at some point. It's just gonna, like, this is entropy. If you are a scientist, you will just name it entropy. It's something that always happen everywhere. It's just gradually kind of taking advantages of reality, you know. And so this is something that really struck me at this time, and I was pretty terrified by this concept, because I had this idea of, you know, making art is something eternal in a way. You will just create something, it will last forever, and this particular idea of entropy just says otherwise. It just says the contrary, and it really struck me, and I was just like, okay, if I'm a creator somehow, I need to kind of comprehend that this is always going to be part of creation, even though I don't think nowadays that it's going to be eternal, for example. I'm just like, okay, it's not eternal. It's going to break apart. It's going to just like break into pieces. And so if this is going to happen, I need to understand how it's going to break, and what's the fragility of my medium, and how can I use that as a way to create beauty in a way. And so this is really what I'm looking for when I try to glitch video compression, because this is the weakness of compression that I'm using. You know, I'm just showing the little thing that makes it fragile. And so this is my focus. I focus on like artifacts more than efficiency. I focus on like the abstract more than productivity, for example, more than. And yeah, this is something that really stood with me. Like every creation is a loss. It just means that even though you think you're building something really strong and really meaningful, you need to keep in mind that at some point it's just going to be nothing. And this is like an idea that I'm always trying to process in my own work.
That's very interesting, and I think it helps to be a little more humble, let's say,
Yeah,
to see
yeah,
that at some point what we do, even if we want to leave a mark in history, we can relax, because at some point
yeah,
everything will
yeah. It
might
puts some
get lost. Yeah,
yeah, it puts a lot of perspective on what you're doing, because you may do something that is striking and that will make a lot of noise. This is something, but yeah, I think it's really important to remember that it's compared to everything that is happening, it won't be so much at the end. But yeah,
yeah,
it's a way for me to also kind of value the things that are perishing. Also, I'm really amazed by runes, for example. Like, it's a really romantical way of seeing things, but runes and things that breaks apart, things that collapse. Also, I love to see things collapsing, because it's a moment where the two things are kind of meeting each other. You know, creation and destruction are just like the same time, at the same moment, in the same place. You know, collapsing things are just really representative of this ongoing reflection that I have. And this is also something that I try to achieve in my work. This is why it's always kind of accidental event. I'm always talking about like huge waves, tempests, like striking things. Like, you know, it's always kind of getting in action, getting destroyed in a way. And so this is why I'm always using like catastrophic words to describe what I'm doing, because I'm always looking for kind of a ratio between creation and destruction. And I love to see scenes where you understand that it's happening, you know, everything that we build is kind of getting down at some point, and like this is a really huge feeling, I think.
Yeah, that's very interesting, and thanks for sharing that on the destruction part, the collapsing part that you're talking about. I think it make me realize that at some point you have similarities, obviously not the same goal, but the same way of approaching things that maybe some hackers that do the flash loan attacks, for example.
Yeah,
That obviously you are an artist, you do
yeah.
that to say to pass message, to give emotion, so that's that's very good. I think you have kind of the same approach, well, to find the little cracks in things that can be used. And I had one question. If you have, for example, a framework, a way of, when you discover a software, a way to easily, well, I don't know, go into the code and find some ways that some things that can be used, or
Mm.
do you have a specific approach for that, or you just play with the tool?
It really depends, because like I said in the beginning, there are a lot of layers of abstraction, and for example, there are a few um, languages like coding languages that I know, and some that I don't know at all, so I can do shit. Even if I have the code, I will just be like, I can't do anything. So it depends. Sometimes I'm always sometimes I can focus on the graphic interface, for example. You can find glitch in the graphic interfaces. You will find less, but you can find the beginning of something. For example, like um, I will try to have an example. If I take VLC again, VLC in the graphic interface, if you have a video that is a big, like that is encoded, but a bit the wrong way, you know, it's gonna read it right. But if you just kind of faster the video, it's gonna play wrong. It's gonna start to put something on the screen, and then you don't have to understand everything that is happening, but you know how to produce it, which means that it's an entry to glitch. And this is why it's also like hacking. You know, you see that there is some kind of weakness between 2 points. Like, I don't know, like maybe the data is transiting between those 2 points, and it's like, okay, that's here, gonna work there, and then can take a lot of time to find the right thing. But and sometimes I look for, you know, some open code. You know, when the code is open, sometimes you have also people talking about it, people like kind of commenting it, so you can have a full code with explanations, and then for a glitch artist that doesn't know much about coding, you can start with something that is ratio, for example. It's just numbers, and you just change the numbers. Sometimes it's gonna do nothing, but most of the time it's gonna do nothing, and then sometimes it works. So first project I had was again on VLC. I just opened the full how do you say that, like the source code, and I was amazed first by the amount of algorithm that I could find inside of it. And I was looking for particular codecs that are codecs are used in video compression to compress, for example, in an MP4 you will have two codecs, one for the audio, one for the video. And so if you know the name of the codec, you can type it and search for it on the code, and you will see it appear on the source code of VLC. And then you see what's written underneath, and maybe it's gonna be treat this codec like that, try to make it appear like that. And if you have ratio, then you can just try to play with the ratios and see what's happening. So yeah, it's, but you need to kind of trust yourself on this kind of playground, because I won't be able to tell you what will be interesting for you. You know, you need to try, you need to do it yourself.
Very interesting. Thanks. Thanks for that. Very concrete tips for someone who wants to start playing with VLC. So
Yeah, yeah.
everyone watching this, interesting in that, have a look to the codex. Can you Tell us about like 3 of your artworks, maybe that we can have a look to that represent your work. We will put the link in the description.
Yeah. So I was thinking about like 3 different kind of works. One is actually this one that I have, and it's a really weird one, but this
It's
one
really
is called,
good.
I just called it a video sculpture. So it's actually a video that you can touch. And
Wow.
it's this work I wanted to, like, this was my basic, my primary need was to have something physical that I can touch, because I've been working on video for so many times that I wanted something that I can, you know, go around and see it and also touch it. So I use a video that is, I don't remember the how long it was, but let's say it's like 10 seconds. So in this video, you have the blue colors that is evolving in a way. So let's pretend that's me and my t-shirt is like blue. I'm on the beach. This is the only blue like that I can see, and I'm dancing on the beach. You know, it's like you're taking every frame of this video, this 10-second video, you're printing them, and you're kind of stacking them one upon each other, starting from the first frame to the last frame, and then you have some kind of pile of frames. And it's like I cut out the blue in every frame and then get rid of the rest, and then I kind of created a structure to create this kind of object. So this is the process. I don't know if that was clear, because it's a
Yes.
bit complex, but
Yeah, I think it was clear, and then you
okay.
3D printed it. I think.
Yeah, because it's really like for scientists or engineer, it's something that is, you can think easily about that, because like time is another dimension, if you think about it. So this is like time shown as a dimension of space. Like time, you can read time this way, from like the first frame to the last. And so this is kind of this is a glitchy process, for example. I don't know if everyone would call that a glitch, but for me that's a glitch. It's a shift of dimension. So this is, I think I call it like video sculpture or something like that. I made an NFT out of it, but so this is for the first work. The second one would be like maybe one of my last still image from the rat series. I can check maybe from the, yeah, from the beginning. I actually started this this series thinking about like wildfires. So I think I called one wildfire. Yeah, I got this one. So it's called Wildfire Point Rad. And I actually started this series when I was pretty obsessed by the phenomenon of wildfire. You know, in the summer, you get some kind of natural wildfire and some like human triggered wildfire. But the thing is, I was pretty amazed by the fact that it's such a destructive event. You know, everything is kind of burning. You think it's the apocalypse. You just see the landscape afterwards, and you're just like, nothing is gonna grow from this ground ever again. And then things start to grow again, and it's kind of a natural process also. And it's actually doing some kind of a new soil that is really fertile, because everything just burned down. So you have a lot of matter on the ground, and everything start to grow again. And this is pretty amazing for me, like this kind of circle of destruction and then creation again. You know, this is where I see something that can interest me, because this is not only growing, developing, and everything. It's also like at some point everything is burning, like collapsing. You know, and so I was pretty amazed by that, and I started to look for ways to kind of represent this feeling of destruction and renew into abstraction, into glitch composition. And actually, this like the original video I used to create the whole series was a video of floating water. So it was water, and then you just kind of glitch it into fire, into wildfire, into something else, and this is how I I started. So So this is just to give you a bit of description about the rat series. And the last one, maybe a video, I would say like I will send you a link because I think you won't be able to get it from any NFT platforms. But it's a video I made. It took me 1.5 years to make it, and I made it for a festival in Berlin, which is called the Atonal Festival. So I'm gonna send you the link, but it was a duo with a musician, and so I made a 45 minutes video for a live set, you know. And this is something taking place in Google Earth. So I was in a curfew like everyone else during the pandemic, and I was just like, okay, I need to make video still because otherwise I'm gonna get Google, you know. So I need to find a way to still create and still have some, you know, some rush to work with. And so I started to look around on Google Earth, trying to find places that I was interested about. And my kind of like the observation I had on the world was pretty. It was always turning around industrial forms, industrial economy, the way we can have a lot of things in front of our doors in like 2 days. You can ask for everything. It's quite magic, but it's something that rely on the industrial chain and the way things can easily move from one point on the earth to the other. So I was pretty fascinated and also obsessed by these circuits. You know, the way the way things move, the way they are getting at the right point, like primary matters into processed materials, into something that you just get at the end of the day. And so I started to kind of gravitate around this point, like a commercial harbor, for example, or like factories and things like that. And yeah, I started to make kind of a industrial odyssey where you're always feeling that you're kind of a satellite going around the earth. Like, you know, you're always moving. You're not like it's not steady. You're always kind of shifting from one position to the other, and it's going fully abstract on some point. You just get into glitch more and more, and you just get lost into details. And like, it's a chemistry for me. Like, the landscape is something that you can see and appreciate, and then when I glitch it, it's a primary matter that I'm processing as well, like the industry is doing on the ground, you know, like the resources. So I'm using this kind of images as resources to kind of process it into glitch, to make it appear different. And sometimes it's kind of like the glitch is stretching an industrial camouflage to mountains, for example, and sometimes the other way around. Like, you know, you get nature inside of really industrial places. So it's a camouflage that is always shifting from one point to the other. So again, you see the duality in my work, like from creation, destruction, like nature, industry, the way they always kind of look one for each other and try to be try to melt one with each other. This is really something that I love to do. And so sometimes it also looks like time is passing so quickly when you glitch something. It's kind of, you're seeing a scene and it's like it's taking 20 years in 10 seconds. So you're just witnessing time in a way. This is like time. Sometimes it turns me as a dimension for this one. Sometimes it's something that just speaks about loss, destruction. Sometimes, but it's always kind of in my mind, you know. So I love to have this kind of process where you feel like time is passing, or like glitch is kind of giving you a new ways of seeing, of looking at things, you know. So yeah, these are the three work I wanted to talk about.
Very cool, thank you. We will put the links for everything, and it's really interesting because the three are very different.
Mhm.
And I wanted to ask you one question about maybe one of your work that get you the most famous, the most visibility with Ariana Grande, the clip you made for her.
Yeah.
I'm curious about how did it happen, because I don't know Ariana Grande so well, but at first I wouldn't imagine her interested by glitch art. I would see something, but maybe I'm wrong, and she is really
Mhm.
obviously I most probably I'm wrong, but yes, I'm curious to understand how did you end up doing the clip for her? If you want to tell me.
It was, I think it was maybe 2 years ago, maybe three, if I don't recall correctly. But so I was still in school, studying like every other day. I just went out of the school to come back home, and I received a message from like her agents, who told me that she was really interested in one of the video I made. And actually the same footages, I used them first for another video clip. So I made a video clip on some really more experimental music, and it was a really huge experience for me to get into pop music, and also at this level of pop music. It was a blast. And so yeah, I think glitch art is gonna be more and more part of the pop culture, because it's something that you see even in advertising nowadays. So it's kind of shifting from the underground to something really pop. And there are also a lot of things that I don't know much, but glitch music is kind of uh, starting nowadays. It's a new wave. It's something I can't talk much about it because I don't know much, but I need to, get this train. But yeah, for the Ariana Grande project, it was uh, really amazing. It was my first contract, so I was just kind of overwhelmed by the situation. And also it was really important for me because it changes the way I saw glitch. Because I first started on glitch art communities, on Facebook, on Reddit, on Twitter. Just I just started 1 year ago with NFTs, so I don't know much about like the Twitter sphere. Um, but yeah, I started from more underground uh, networks. Like even festivals. It's always happening in places that you find people just drinking beers, having fun, and talking about computers, talking about like it's a really nerdy and underground field, the glitch art field. So I was pretty amazed by the fact that it can just explode at some point, and a lot of people were just wanted to do the same. And so you see that from the underground knowledges that everyone's sharing, you go from like the uh, something that is pretty hard to find to something that starts to appear on softwares. For example, if you do montage, you will find a lot of plugins for data moshing, for glitch art, for things like that. So yeah, it was a huge blast also for that, because I can sense nowadays that I'm still working also with people that are trying to make it more affordable, not affordable, but um, to make it possible for someone that doesn't know how to code to be able to glitch something. So I'm also working with people that are trying to put it on plugins, but it's something that I love as much as I hate it, because I want sometimes people to understand what's behind. This is my primary need as a glitch artist. I want everyone to be able to have the curiosity of what's behind the interface. So if you create another interface that um, makes it possible for everyone to use it, then yeah, the primary goal isn't achieved. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's I lost the question, I think, here. But,
No, it's very interesting, and it makes me think about another question. After I will ask you about how you use the blockchain, how you connect with your collector. But with what you say, I was wondering, what is your view on other artistic trends that might connect at some point with glitch art. For example, I think of two, like Trashart,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
AI, artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
I think those two might connect at some point with glitch art. And what is your view on each one? If you do you use it? Do you practice it? Do you like it? Do you think it's bad?
I think like for IA, for example, I didn't try it myself this last few months, and I think it started to be really à la mode, you know, from yeah, I don't know when it started, but I see a lot of artists trying to do AA and trying to find their own style with it. The only thing I can say about that is that, as always, I'm looking when a lot of people are using a tool, like for example Dali, I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, the problem I see is that if you don't see if you don't find a singular path to use the tool, you're gonna end up doing the same thing that everyone is doing. So this is what's tricky about this kind of tool. For example, if someone was releasing a glitch art all in one, you can do everything with it and just throw it on the internet, it would be amazing, but also it would be something that's threatening the singularities that everyone can have. You know, if the tool is only an interface that you can't change yourself, that you can't rearrange, it's just gonna end up with a lot of similar results. And this is something that I'm not looking for when I see a tool. I want it to be the more open that it can be. And so this is really interesting because like IA should provide this kind of tools, you know, should provide a tool that would learn from what you're asking, that would be able to find a really singular way of seeing things. But yet with Dali, I see that, you know, the aesthetics, the way people use it can be really similar sometimes. But there are a lot of artists that are doing like beautiful stuff and everything. This is not something that that's like what I'm saying is not every AA artist is doing the same thing, but you see a majority of artists using it the same way, which is, I think, yeah, not the way it should be. And also, like for the other example was what? Sorry again.
Trashart.
Oh, Trashart. I don't know much about Trashart, but I need to learn about it, and I think it's a really interesting like point of view to try to redefine what is art, what is beautiful, what is good or bad. And this is really a basic question in terms of aesthetic, you know. But when things are kind of considered noble, like noble arts, for example, like painting, sculpture, like literature, or things like that, it's always interesting to try to go the other way around, like to you know, something should be valuable, but because it's on a museum, because it's in a white space and it's big and there are a lot of people watching it, okay, that's art. But sometimes you can just look at something that is really trashy and really obviously ugly, but it's something that you like. It's something that moves you. Something that you have a feeling that it's going to change you somehow. And it makes me think about another artist that is called Nikita Diakour, and he's doing animations. And one of them is called actually Ugly. So he made a film on that, and he's always using this kind of aesthetic of the ugliness, something you shouldn't show as a 3D animator. Like for example, if you use a character, you will see every mechanism that makes him move, you know, from like from the software. So he's showing everything, and he titled it Ugly because he knows it's not something that is going to be well designed, or everything seems to be like the wrong way again. But yeah, you get this sensation that is more, you get some kind of intimate feeling with the work, because it really feels like life. You know, life is not something that's always beautiful, always perfect and everything. You see ugliness in life. So art should be talking about that also. This is all I can say about Trashart.
That's very interesting. Thanks. Now, if we move on to how you use the blockchain and things about that,
Yeah.
can you tell us how did you discover the NFT blockchain space? How did you enter it? What was your motivation?
Yeah, like first, I remember because this was like 1 year ago. I heard about NFTs way before that, like maybe 3, 4 years ago, while I was just looking at a conversation on a new social media, and people were just wondering if it was possible to have some kind of way of um, getting your own data and getting the value of your data would just um, how to say that, like on a regular social media, you get into it, you put a lot of information about yourself, and you don't get rewarded for that, or less you get rewarded with kind of connection with other people, but you don't get any money out of it. And we know that like data is the new gold, actually. So this specific social media was looking for a way to kind of reward artists for working on the internet. And actually, since I started doing NFTs, I feel like I've been working for free for a lot of years before that, on many levels. But so it's really interesting to see that we just achieved this kind of um, new tool to get rewarded for this data. And I just started to do it myself 1 year ago because I was looking for just a way to make a living out of what I was doing. So it was pretty convenient when you do virtual work, because like whether it's video, glitch, digital work, it's really complicated to find a way to make a living out of it. Even though I made this video clip for Ariana Grande, it's people can come to you and say like, I have a great opportunity. There is no money, but visibility is gonna be like awesome. You should make it. It's a huge thing for you. And just like, what? This is not normal. I mean, I'm working my ass off to make something different, to make something singular. It's taking me a lot of time. I put all my energy inside of it, and then people come at me just saying, "You're lucky. I just found you." It's just like it's like really unbalanced. And so I love the fact that now with NFT something that is kind of backlashing, because you see a lot of artists that are pretty angry at other institution, other way of doing art, and that are finding a way to like live out of that and also connect with a lot of artists and also collect. I was so happy to be able to collect, because it's not something that you can do when, even if you are in an art school with other friends, you can exchange some works and everything, but if you want to buy something, it's going to be too expensive. And so this is why I liked the Tezos community also, because this is something that you don't have to pay much to like to list an NFT. You don't have to pay much to buy one, to exchange everything. Everything is not free, but as if it was free. And also like the mentality of the community, I really love it, because you see people from really different origins, and people are able to try and experiment because it's almost free to do it. So you can make errors. It's not a big deal. You can try things out. You can fail a series. It's okay. You just you have the chance to just fail. And this is something that I appreciate, because if I experiment, at some point I'm gonna fail. So I don't want everything to be uh, right on the first try. So yeah, I don't know if I answered the question again. I'm
Yes,
losing.
yes, very well. Yeah, for you, it's I mean, and for a lot of digital artists, NFTs are a way to give value to your creation and to connect with other artists or collectors. So that's
Yeah, yeah.
That's a very good reason. And you talked about Tezos.
Yeah,
I know you also use Solana, but I don't see you using Ethereum, if I'm not wrong.
yeah.
So I would be curious to know, well, first, why don't you use Ethereum? Is it for environmental reason, for example? And between Solana and Tezos, how do you choose which one to use depending on which artwork you are publishing?
Yeah, like I primarily don't use Ethereum because I was just looking for the merge to happen because yeah, it's for environmental reasons that I don't use it. And between like Tezos and Solana, it's really something that I started maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I started to mint on Solana, and this is because like a lot of people were asking, oh, we would love to see this on Solana. We would like there was a public already from the Tezos and from like Twitter Space, and I wanted to give it a try because you know it's when you're on the NFT journey, you need to try out different things because you will find different communities, and you shouldn't feel like you only rely on one particular crypto, because I think it's really there are huge communities, so it's easy to just stay in that bubble. But I always want, even if it's for social medias and communities, I always love to kind of get away from a bubble to another one, and then another one, to just kind of enjoy a much wider view on the space, on what's happening. Um, so yeah, it was a really interesting experience because even like the discussion aren't the same, like the energy isn't the same depending on which platform you're surfing on. And so you see people that are, sometimes it's about a niche. If you have a particular way of doing things, maybe it's not working on one place because people are not receptive to it, but it's going to work even better on another place. And I started with the Tezos community because actually there was a lot of glitch artists that I knew, and yeah, it was. I had this feeling that it was already part of my community because there were a lot of people that I knew from festivals, from like Facebook groups, from Reddit, etc. So it really felt like a new home in a way, and yeah, it was the natural things to do. So yeah.
Cool, but you're going to come back on Tezos and drop
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Bulldog.
already. Yeah, I'm just like shifting from
Yeah.
one to the other, and this is something also really interesting because I only started to do one like unique edition starting from. Uh, I started on July because there was an event on Tezos. I don't know if you've heard of it, like the one of one event. So it was an event that would push artists to create unique version of their NFTs, and it made me realize that I should also try this kind of approach because I was mainly doing like huge editions to start with, and then short edition, but like 20 edition or something like that. And yeah, it made me realize that you can have also something that's pretty close to what's happening in the like contemporary art, for example, where people want to have their own edition. They want to have a part of your creative process, and they want to have everything of this part. And this is pretty interesting because I think uh, depending on the project, you need to adapt the way you sell the work. But sometimes it feels like a video is more of something that I want to spread. For example, I've done a few events that were talking about like a wave, some kind of I don't know, a wave or yeah, a growing wave, let's say it like that. And so I want a lot of people to be part of the wave. I want the wave to spread um, really far. So I want it to be something that you can share, you can resell, you can. So you need to think about that before like choosing the right platform and everything. What kind of events do you want to create with the work? And yeah, I think that's it.
Very cool. Thanks. And about the different marketplaces, so I think on Solana you're using mostly exchange.art,
Yeah.
maybe most object and Tezos.
So
What would you say about marketplaces? Which one you prefer? What are the features that you like?
yeah, it really depends. I use mostly on Tezos Object, object.com. On Solana, yeah, I use Exchange Art, and I'm still figuring out all the specificities of Solana. I don't know everything yet, but yeah, for Tezos, there's been a lot of marketplace history, like the first one who just collapsed, and then a few, like three, if I recall correctly, three other marketplace, and people were kind of lost. But it was kind of a good reminder that everything is always shifting in the crypto space. So you need to be able to adapt yourself to the change and to find the right place. But I tried Versum, also Versum. I tried FXH. I didn't try it much because it was more related to generative art. And since I don't use this kind of code, it's pretty difficult for me to kind of apply the video compression inside of this kind of, or at least I didn't try. But it's really interesting to see also that the generative movement took place in this FXH marketplace, because there are a lot of editions, so you need to kind of have the right structure for it and the right way to display it. And so it was really interesting to see it kind of start from nothing and evolving into what it is today. But yeah, I would say that I'm more interested in the community than the marketplace. I'm not like choosing the Tezos because the marketplace is better, because it's more efficient. I'm mostly focusing on like the community, because it's what's gonna keep the movement growing. You know, if people are well connected with each other, if there are strong relationship, even though you don't see the people, sometimes you don't see them in real life, but you need to find the right connection. I think this is the most important, because even though everything kind of breaks, like it happened on the Tezos community, you see that people are still there, and you can ask, what are you doing? So what do you think about that? This is really important to get in touch with the people you're sharing the work or even buying the work with, because this is what's gonna this is what's gonna be there if everything collapses. You know, again.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Good advice for people wondering where to go on Solana and Tezos. The advice you say, it's basically follow the community, follow where the groups you are in, where this group is. You can just go there, and you know
Yeah.
they will still be there. That's very cool. One question a little bit more technical, but have you ever done your own smart contract or goes into a little of Solidity development, things like that for your
No, I
artwork?
didn't try it yet. I didn't try it by myself, because I can't. I don't find the time to try everything, because like if you're creating, communicating, like in communication, I mean communicating the work, but also communicating with the community, and like I said, finding the relations and everything, and also doing marketing. This is already so many things, and also like the social media to handle everything, and even financially, you need to kind of focus on what's happening, because otherwise it can be really complicated. So yeah, my advice would be for like newcomers to focus on what really interests you and not spread yourself everywhere, because it's gonna be really difficult to kind of assume all the roles that you can have in the crypto sphere. You know, so I didn't try it out yet, but maybe if I have more time, I would try.
Yes. I'm sure at some point you will find glitch in smart contracts that you can exploit and do things like that. Um, and do you sometimes add a utility to your token, like for example, an object you can burn token, and you say if you burn this token, then you receive a new one, or you send airdrops to some of your collectors? Do you do little mechanism like that?
I didn't try it yet, but I've experienced it many times now, and I think it's really powerful because this is something that will just bring another dimension to the work sometimes. And also another thing is that it can be tricky for like huge marketing project, for example. Sometimes they put some kind of entry pass where you need to pay without seeing what you're buying. And I think we are quite weak towards this kind of mechanism because we everyone think he's really lucky, so he's gonna just take a lot of pass and say like, yeah, this is gonna be it, you know. So yeah, I think it's really powerful. And as an artist, if I use this, I will have some thoughts about the way it works, the way it trigger the some primary part of the brain. You know, we are apes looking at like luck, and this kind of game we just want to play. You know, we're just really weak about that. So yeah, this is something that I think could be really interesting. And like the last experience I had of this kind of pass is the work of Stella Particular. I can send you the link also. So the work is kind of video game gallery. If I understand and understood it well, it's talking. It's kind of a game where you're shifting from like the game to something that looks like reality into the game into reality, and you're just witnessing new works on the Tezos blockchain. So you're kind of gambling around, and then you see huge works. And this is really important, I think, to get this kind of curation of works, because for most of the galleries I've seen happening on Twitter Spaces and things like that, people love to collect and then put it in a gallery so that everyone can see the works. This is interesting, but this is also just a copy of what's happening in the real world. And I think it could go way further than that. And the way Stella Particular just made this game is pretty interesting, pretty exciting to me, because it just kind of triggered something inside of me where I know it's speaking to me. I'm a gamer, and I think like this is the kind of thing I want to see in the future. I want to see NFT, like for example, abstract art, sculptures, videos, everything could be part of video games, and this is something that I would love to see more happening. Yeah.
Very cool. I didn't know Stella Particular, but I will check carefully. I love the concept. If we talk now about your relationship with other artists, then afterwards we'll talk about your relationship with collectors. But first, with other artists, I see you are a curator in the Glitch Artist Collective.
Yeah.
Can you maybe tell us a bit about the role of the collective, your role with that, and if you are a member also of other artist organizations?
Yeah. So like the Glitch Artist Collective, I've been part of it for like maybe 4 years, no, maybe 6 years now, I would say. And I've been working for the creation since 2 years now, I think. So it's an online collective where everyone is welcome. There are a few rules if you want to share your work, but you can do it the way you want otherwise. And this is something that is handled by only the curators and the admin are all artists interested in the movements, because there is basically no money going on behind it. So everyone is kind of doing it on their free time, which makes it like something really different, because you know that it's only passionate people that just handle the thing, and also the community is really huge. So you see a lot of this is something like, for me, it's super important to have this kind of activity, because it changes the way you see other works. For example, if you're, for my experience, if you want to be a contemporary artist, going to galleries and be renowned this way, you will see a lot of works, and you will surely think that they are in competition with you. You will just see them as kind of competitor. They are not if they are like, even if they are not doing the same thing you are, you just see them as some kind of okay, it's a competition going on. But if you are on these kind of groups on the internet, where people just work for free to make it happen, you don't see this kind of behavior, because it's mostly community. So you share the work, you share the tools, you describe what you see, you just like interact with people. And doing curation makes you think differently. It's not a competition anymore. You're just like kind of you're getting more inspired by the works you see. You know, it's not something that threatens you. It's something that you receive and you try to understand further. So this is really a huge difference for me in these kind of communities. And I wanted to be part of it, to do the curation, because like through the years I've been seeking for new works for myself first, like to understand how things are done, and then doing curation kind of forced me into uh, forced my interest into new things. Like, if you're a creator, you're not gonna show every work that just look the same way your work just is looking. You're gonna look for new things, new way of understanding the glitch. And so this is something that really um, open up a new area for me, like a new area of reflection, a new space to understand what's happening, like um, what's happening outside of my own comprehension. And so, yeah, what can I say about that? There is an oncoming exhibition also for the Glitch Artists Collective. It's going to take place in Minneapolis, near Minneapolis, actually. If you want to have more info, it's called the Glitch Art is Dead. You can find it on Facebook. So obviously it's a joke. Glitch Art isn't dead, but yeah, it's something like, I'm really looking forward to go there, because there are a lot of people that I know from the internet, a lot of people that I've actually met in real life, but I want to meet everyone. So I can't wait to be there.
Nice. So we will put the link also in the description
Yeah,
we have people from Minneapolis watching
yeah,
or anywhere else who want to join. Um, that's very cool. So you would advise to other artists, if they have the chance to be a curator in some organization,
yeah,
to take this chance, because it helps uh, have a new look on other works, and to
yeah,
integrate this in your work.
yeah. Also,
That's very interesting.
yeah, it's something you can. It's also something you can do, and you can go further in the like NFT space, because you can curate, of course, other works, which means like present the work of someone you just consider a lot, like another artist, or someone who's even collecting. You know, collectors have good eyes, and sometimes you can be amazed by the collection. And so you need, I think, to share this kind of information, to communicate about that, because this is how you also meet people, or you talk to people. You have better conversation with if you are interested in their work and present it, because you're actually making the work for them. It's easier for them than afterwards, and it's a huge feeling when you wake up and someone uh, is just talking about you, like, oh, I love the work, I love this series, I've been collecting it. And the fact that you can collect it also with NFT is really important, because when it started to work for me, and even before, I was, just the fact that you have the money to buy something, you will kind of connect it like instantly. You're just like, oh, I can have that. Do I want that? And then start to collect. I do have some collecting fever sometimes, but it's something like it's really important, I think, to speak about the collection we're creating, to speak about the creation we're making for ourselves, but also the thing that we are like kind of discovering in the internet. Because there are a lot of people that are not renowned but doing like incredible stuff. So we need to help them. Sometimes people are not really comfortable with communication. So if you have some communication skills, then you need to use them not only for your work but for others.
Very cool, very interesting. And do you do collaborations with other artists? And if you do, how do you choose them? Or what is the creative process when you are two or more working on the same
Hmm.
project?
It depends on the project, because sometimes when I work in the music with musician, for example, I know I need a lot of time on my own, but before that, I need a lot of references to understand what kind of, what the aesthetic of the musician should be, what are the ideas behind the work, if it's an album, if it's only one music, it depends really on the project. But with musician, I need a lot of time on my own to kind of get a vision of what I want to make it. And sometimes it's a more close relation where you kind of you give materials to someone and it is just like giving you back something. Yeah, it really depends. For example, I do collaborate, but I tend to collaborate less because uh, the way I work is really chaotic. Sometimes I'm starting something and I don't finish it, and you can't do that when you're in a collaboration, or at least you need to finish on a good sensation, a good feeling, So you can't just say "fuck off," I want to do something else. So I would say that um, I see a lot of people collaborating with people they feel like in terms of style, aesthetic, they feel close. So they want to start something in the glitch art field. It's happening a lot because people may have different mediums, but it's always interesting to see how they can merge together and kind of find some coherent ground. But I struggle to sometimes finish my collaboration, so I don't have much advice for artists who are looking for new collaboration. The only thing I would say is, if you start a collaboration, before starting it or even asking for the collaboration, just take the time, like maybe 2-3 days, to know if it's just like if it's just a feeling you had, or if it's something that you really want to do. Because otherwise, if it's just something that happens one night and you just instantly send a message like, "How do you want to?" Maybe tomorrow you're gonna be like, "Oh, I want to do something else," and then you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it the wrong way. But yeah,
Okay. Oh, thanks. So take your time if you want to collaborate with someone. Make sure you are compatible.
yeah, that's it.
If we move on with the relationship with your collectors, um, you talked earlier about the fact that social media and marketing overall takes time. Um, what would you say if you have one day of work, for example? What is the percentage of time you spend on marketing, community management, those kind of things, compared of the time you spend really creating art? Can you give us an
Uh,
overview of that?
I don't really count, so I think I'm spending way too much hours in front of my computer. That's for sure. But I think I don't have like a ratio between these things. But all I can say is this is something you need to divide. Like, you can't do marketing while creating. You can't do like communication while creating, or not all the time. You need to have separate moments for all these things. Otherwise, you're just gonna lose it. Like it can be really difficult for example, if you're working on a like deep experimental things, you're losing a lot of time. So marketing wise, it's going to be a bad thing, but like creative wise, it's really good to take time to fail, do wrong things, and then try things out. So you really need, I think, to be able to divide these roles that you have as an independent artist. You really need to kind of find balance between these, because if you do too much communication, even your brain is going to be on communication mode, so you will always think about new forms of expression. But for example, when I'm creating, it's more pure. It's not something that is understandable. It's not something that is that I can put up front directly. So, but I need to do this first. I need to kind of bring the primer matter before doing some like a communicative work of kind of translating it into something that everyone could understand. But you need to divide all those different parts, because otherwise it's going to be really difficult to to finish project, to do things right, because each and every one of these roles you have, you need to kind of master them your own way. You know, you need to if it's about communication, for example, the things that I've been saying to you, like I'm obsessed with collapsing things, incidents, and the thing that can kind of communicate this feeling I have are sometimes natural disaster, for example. But before thinking about that, there was a huge reflection, creative-wise, communication-wise, and everything. So you really need to take time to do all those things separately. This is my advice.
Very, very interesting. And when you say doing these things separately, in your experience, do you separate like per hours, for example, or more per days? Like in the morning, I'm more creative, I do my art, and in the evening, I do the social media. Or is it more like for 3 days, I'm focusing on art, and then for 2 days on social media?
So again, it's really difficult for me to set a schedule for like creation. For example, I don't know if I'm gonna need like 3 weeks to do this, but I tend to start the day with the most organized tasks. For example, if you need to set up a meeting, if you need to answer the mails, if you need to, I don't know, look for data, statistics, things that are like more
Rational.
rational. This is like the beginning of the day. It's always about rational tasks, and then I shift from the rational to the abstract. And at the end of the day, I'm just fully abstract, and I just do like a pure composition, colors, things that are just like it's about the feeling at the end of the day. But this is just me. This is the way I work. But I can't say that I'm gonna just take like 2 weeks to create something, and it's really difficult for me to kind of set up this kind of schedule.
Okay, no problem. Thanks. So, what are the social media you use most? I think I see Instagram, Twitter, but what is your vision on each one? What each one brings you?
It depends on the medium you're using, because, for example, for videos, I use Vimeo, Reddit, YouTube sometimes. It depends. And Facebook also. But yeah, I try to avoid video and Twitter. So, and also like it really depends. For still images, I use Twitter, like that's for sure. For NFTs, Twitter. For Instagram, it's mostly on like still images or vertical videos. There are a lot of kind of things. You know that social media is made to kind of make it convenient to certain formats. So, for example, like vertical images, vertical videos. But if I want to do something that is more a landscape format, I will use like Reddit, Vimeo for sure, because people are going to see that thing on a computer. But if people are on a mobile phone, they are more likely to be on Twitter, Instagram, things like that. I don't use TikTok because I feel lost in this social media. But like Instagram, Reddit is also to connect. It's really cool to connect because usually you use Reddit to be anonymous, but if you're sharing the art, you won't be anonymous. And yeah, it's a cool. It's also a cool website. You can get lost in a lot of rabbit hole on Reddit, but yeah, it's really a cool place. So yeah, I think that's.
Yes, and do you use also Twitter to connect with people?
I use Twitter, yeah, to connect with people that are collecting, that are speaking about like collecting the works I make, also collecting the works I see being like new. Depending on what you're looking for, you always will connect on Twitter on the topic you're discussing. For example, if you're an abstract artist and you're trying to understand what are the process of other artists, you're going to connect with them. You need to find the right niche where people are not doing the same thing as you, but are kind of gravitating around the same questions. This is really important. And I think it's also something about the creation. If you're a creator and you want to find new works, you need to have sometimes discussion with people that are also sharing works, also collecting. If you're a creator and you love to see different works, then you need to have some kind of a diverse conversation with people that like realism, people that like illustrative work. But you see that most of the time the communities are kind of um, building themselves on same ideas of what they like, what should be ethical, what you kind of see this kind of conversation happening on Twitter. And yeah, also I think it's a good thing to have a good ratio between like artists and collectors in a discussion. Is something that I noticed that if there are too much artists, it's going to be a spammy conversation, like a lot of information, but just um, not not a real discussion at some point. It's just like people spamming things, and it's important to have this kind of conversation, but it's also important to have conversation where you can discuss a lot of things like philosophy, I don't know, or the process or technicalities, or yeah, you need to have like different conversation, and depending on the marketplace also, like the discussion are quite always made by people from the same marketplace. So you need to be also you need to check if you're on the right conversation. If you're on the wrong marketplace, for example, it can be something that doesn't work.
Very interesting. So you would say to be careful when you engage a conversation, for example, in a group, to find the right balance between artists and
Yeah,
collectors.
yeah,
That's very interesting. And when you say you connect with you contact your collectors, for example, after they buy your artwork, what you do, you send them a message to say thank you if you can, if they are not anonymous. Do you do that all
yeah,
the
yeah.
time, or when you
Yeah,
can?
I try to do this like most of the time when for example, if I sell a unique edition, I'm gonna send a message to the collectors because it's really important. And as a collector myself, like collecting is a good thing to understand how it works from the collector side also, because again, if you are on contemporary art, you have the artist on one side, the collectors on the other side, and it's kind of a splitted environment, you know. But if you're on NFT space, you can collect also, and so it brings a new kind of identity of creator and collector. You can be both, and you will understand that when you collect something, it's not only about collecting things and having it in your wallet. It's also about how is it received by the person who made it, and how happy he is, or he or she is, or whatever, about that. Because it's really important. Like the effect that you have as a collector is something that makes you feel really great. Actually, if you buy something and the people are just gonna, oh, thanks, I couldn't be more happier about that. To just like, okay, I made someone happy, and this is just a really good feeling, you know. So yeah, you need to kind of communicate about that. Communicate about the way that it's important for you, that it's not just a platform where you just throw everything and then get away and cross your fingers that it's gonna be sold at the end of the day. It's mostly about the conversation and people trying to connect one with each other. And this is why I said like the community part is even more important than the softwares and everything, because um, can you kind of need to build this community around you, not only being part of the community, but having a community around you, like a close circle of people that are, for myself, interested in glitch art, interested in collecting, interested in, and you need to kind of yeah um, I don't know how to say that in English, but it's something that you need to kind of work on, even though I don't think I'm working when I'm talking to people, but sometimes it's part of the work also.
Okay, very very good. Um, Still on Twitter, do you have certain type of tweet of messages that works more than the others? I saw earlier today you shared the creative process, how you create some of your artwork. I think those kind of things are really interesting. But in your experiences, what is the type of content that works the best for you?
It really depends, but for me, what works the most is something where I just put a title and then the work. Sometimes it's the way it works the most. Sometimes you just I'm not the kind of guy who will just uh, try to create controversy, for example. Like on Twitter, it's something that works if you're kind of triggering the controversy, like everyone is just gonna run into it and just it's a huge energy, but I don't want to make that because it's not the way I communicate. I mostly try to, yeah, uh, create things, my own work or other works, or sometimes to speak about like crypto events, like to know where people are, uh, like what are people doing or things like that. But I mostly try to keep it to the creation part of the web, the social media, because I think this is my job, and I don't want to specifically point out like controversy, like I said, because this is not how I think this is not how I react to social media. So
Very, very interesting. So you basically keep things simple. You share your artworks, the titles, and that works well for you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Also, it depends on the social media. For example, like Twitter is gonna change its rules. You have some kind of mise à jour. I don't know how to say that.
Update.
Updates, yeah. Updates, you have the updates, and then it's completely changing. So maybe tomorrow, if I put like one of my image and just the title, it's not gonna work that much as it was yesterday. So you need to kind of always go with the change and try to find the best thing that doesn't make you change completely, but you still have to feel that it's your communication, your way of saying things, but considering the new update. And sometimes updates are really blurry, but I remember that at some point hashtags were working pretty well, and from one day to the other, it wasn't. So you don't use them anymore. It's just the way it is, and you need to kind of go on with the flow.
Okay, yes, adapt depending on the new trends
Yeah,
that
yeah.
are going on. So I don't think you have your own Discord server.
No,
Is this something that you are considering later to have your close community in one
uh,
place? Or?
I don't know if it's something that I'm gonna. Uh, I don't know. I'm sure it's not something that I want to do now, and I don't know if it's something that I would like to do in the future, because what I really love about the NFT community is also that I can shift the way I create really easily. Like I do one series, then I do another series, and they both have things in common, but they are pretty different, like aesthetically, in the idea what I want to talk about. So I'm not the kind of guy who will just kind of want to grow a community around his work and try to keep everyone. And I don't want that, because I don't do that myself with the artists I like. I like to kind of like a bee from one flower to the other. And yeah, I think I'm not the kind of I don't want to gather everyone at my work. I would prefer to have something like the Glitch Artist Collective, for example, where people are gravitating around, then doing their live, coming back, doing their live. Um, but I don't want it to be focused on myself. I don't want it to be. I don't want to create a brand. I want to create communities. This is something that I'm more looking for example, maybe a Discord on abstract art lovers, more than just Chepertom art lovers,
Okay, yes. Very, very interesting. So you, yes, you think it's more the work that brings the community. And okay, that's very interesting. And going back to the glitch artist collective, if an artist is watching at the video and want to join, how does it happen? It's mostly on Instagram, I think.
It's on Instagram. It's mostly a curated feed. So we are three people taking care of the accounts. So it's really different on Instagram. You need to use a hashtag Glitch Collective, so that we see the work and then we curate it. So we pick and select what's interesting to our eyes. But on the Glitch Artist Collective on Facebook, there are two groups. One that is created like the Instagram I talked about, and the other one is just an open group. You can just be part of it as you want, and you can share on the page. And then it's just a free way of sharing art. And this is where I actually connected many years ago. But this is how I am really connected with a lot of people that I could see in festival afterwards. And this is the people I know I'm gonna meet in Minneapolis. From like other discussion. And so yeah, I think it's if you're interested in glitch art and you want to see other stuff, or maybe you're just curious about like what's happening. You don't want to post anything, but you can be part of the Glitch Artist Collective just to see what's happening, see what's going on, and try to get connected to the movement.
Very cool. Well, we invite everyone to join. You talked about the event in Minneapolis. Do you join other real life event, maybe purely NFT related? Not
Not yet.
yet.
Not yet for NFT related events. I think it's gonna happen really soon, because there are many things going on, and I do have money saved to just move around and travel. So I think it's gonna happen more and more. And it's something that I really like, because it's really important, I think, to have this like this kind of discussion we have is really important also. But another step is to meet the people in real life, because it's not the same at the end of the day.
Yes.
And so yeah, to get like the proper connection and to get to know the people like intimately in a conversation, it's really something that I'm looking for. But I didn't do it yet, and because like the exhibitions were at the wrong time or pretty far away from where I am. But yeah, I hope it's gonna
You're
happen.
considering it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot. We are almost at the end of the questions.
Okay.
But can you tell us about your next project? I think you have one auction that maybe just ended. When I checked, it was like around 8 sol on exchange.art.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think I need to check that, but I'm gonna check it afterwards.
yes, well, good
uh,
luck with that. And what are the next the next artwork? You talked about the event in Minneapolis, but
Yeah. So like the big project that I have is for a duo of musician, like techno music, two French techno musicians. They're called Cast. and I'm gonna do a video clip for them in a few. I can't tell much more about that because it's gonna be a new thing. But yeah, this is I think the biggest project I have in terms of like the work we need to do for that. Otherwise, I have a few collaboration, but I'm not sure I can talk about it because I'm not sure it's gonna be collaboration. Like I said, I need to figure out.
No problem.
But yeah, otherwise, I'm just gonna keep doing the rat series. That's for sure because I have a lot of different composition and different. It's really a series that I love doing because it's a really long process. But I feel like I'm really into making craft out of glitch art. At some point you just try a lot of different way of doing glitch, and sometimes it's striking you. You're on something that kind of talks to you in the way it's produced, in the way it's created, and I think really attached to this particular series. And also it's like even like only the abstract part of this work is something that's really motivating me because I see that there are a lot of questions that I need to answer through abstraction.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot. We'll carefully look at it. And to finish, can you share with us 3 other artists that you particularly like, that
Yeah,
inspired you at some point? Or
yeah. So I'm gonna check because I need to be sure it's the right name. So I think he's German. His name is Spogel Maskine. I don't know what that means, but he's. I will send you also the link if you want to link him,
Yes, please. We'll
because he's doing a really really interesting job at creating space that may look like kind of an enigma video games. Something where you need to find the killers or something like that, but it's always kind of gravitating around. Um, not digital, analog and digital tools that we use, for example TV or computer, his work is kind of always speaking about the evolution of the digital and the evolution of also video games, and it's in a really retro way of doing like video games that it really brings a new dimension, I think, to the what I'm seeing on the NFT space. The other one would be let me check. I need to check the names because I've been only reading the names and in my head, for
Yes.
so many times that I need to check them. So there is also Jack Kaido. Kaido is one of the main abstract painters like going on in the NFT space, and he's really great people. It's a really great person because I recognize a lot of things that I've been talking about, like the way you can create as an artist, and this is a great example of someone that uh, is really kind of bringing a new movement while succeeding in the NFT space. As I said, you can see other artists as in a competition vision, but bringing everyone with you, everyone you like, and kind of trying to bring a new movement more than just your name is always going to be something that will pay back in other ways. Like people are really amazed by the work, but also by the way he's curating other artists. The space he's bringing inside of Twitter and inside of the NFT sphere is really impressive. And so yeah, I think it's a great example of what I was talking about. The way you can kind of see the works, like see what's happening around you in another way, in a new way, just trying to bring with you everything that seems related to your work and creating a huge wave of abstraction this way. And for the last, I will take maybe a glitch artist. So Yeah, some. Oh yeah, Sky. I don't know if you know Sky Goodman,
I
but
don't think so.
I'm gonna send you a link also. Like the work of Sky Goodman is really really impressive. I think if I recall correctly, I've seen. I started to see the work of Sky Goodman maybe 4 years ago, and it really evolved, and it's a really long. It's like an OG glitch artist, you know. So I really recommend to check out, and it's more into analog things, so it's not the same. It's not the same medium as I'm using, but yeah, it's really interesting to see how you can bring like old CRT TVs and things like that into the like put it up front and make something that is really like that is still relevant and that has its own character, its own form into the glitch art scene.
Very, very cool. We will carefully look at those artists, and we'll put the link in the description of the video. Maybe one more thing before we leave. If you had one piece of advice for a new joiner in the NFT space, what would it be? If you one recommendation.
Um, uh, I try to remember what kind of advice I've loved to hear when I first entered the NFT space, but I would say that there are a lot of things that are really noisy in the NFT space, and it doesn't mean that there are the best things happening. And even for people that are outside of the NFT sphere, the noise that you're hearing is not really what's happening inside of communities. So you need to find from this noisy thing when you type NFT on Twitter, you need to find your own version of it, and it's not going to be easy. You will have to stick for it, and maybe it's going to take a bit of time, but it's existing already. So you need to search for it, and to go like to pass this huge cloud of noisy things that may seem not so interesting at first, before you see something that really matters and that like a community you can really invest your time and find great relation inside. So yeah, it's a work actually to find the right space.
That's very interesting. We just did an interview with Joel McTeague, which is another artist. And
Yeah,
for this question, she answered that you enter the NFT space like you discover a new city.
yeah,
You wander around, you walk around, you look around, and when you find your space,
yeah.
then you can settle in and build things.
Yeah,
So
that's a good example because yeah, this is something like in a city you're visiting, you will see like the best places there is, and maybe they're not gonna be the best places there is for you. Maybe it's just like a little street where you have a conversation with someone, and it's just like you're gonna keep that in your memory more than maybe the Paris Tour Eiffel or something like that, you know. So yeah, it's a good example, like to comprehend what's happening. Yeah, you need to walk around and find the right place for you.
yes, well, thanks a lot, Tom, for for taking the time to share your story with us. I think
Thank you.
it's really interesting, and I've learned a lot of things. I hope the people who listen will have the same feeling. So all the best for all your next project. We'll look at it very carefully.
Thank you.
Everyone who watched this video, you know how it works. You can put a like, a comment, subscribe to the channel. It will help to get visibility. You can also join Bulldog on Twitter, Discord to see what's happening.
Mhm.
So thanks everyone for watching, and thanks again, Tom, for your time, and all the best for the rest.
Thank you, Clément.
Thank you, Tom.